Joe, that was beautiful. And we appreciate the extension as the technical problems got solved. Welcome to this day of pure celebration of a life that has touched so very many. This is to be a celebration of Ralph's life. Family, friends, parts of his broader community, from 110 Fitness to his caregivers to this church. We rejoice at having known him and at being able to celebrate. I commend you all on your colorful attire. That was by command. We are going to have beautiful music at this service. Joe Armstrong has done a lovely job of having us get in the right frame of mind.
It's an honor to be part of it.
Thank you for that. And Jen created that beautiful slideshow, and there was no way we weren't going to show it. I welcome you and invite you now to enjoy the drummers from 110 Fitness, accompanied or led, as the case may be, by Joe.
I've been looking forward to this collaboration with you all.
Yes, thank you. On behalf of 110 Fitness, we decided to back up to Mom here and share this time with you and in honor of Ralph. We have our 110 Fitness half of our drumming team here. We perform in the public often, but one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that drumming actually has some research data behind it that helps manage the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. So we drum frequently during the week at our facility in Rockland, and it also is one of Ralph's favorite things to do. And of course, as most of you know, 2 Jimmy Buffett songs. So this is a tribute to Ralph and to his family. So thank you so much.
It's great to have you back. Everybody. All right, so real rock and roll here for Ralph.
That was amazing. Ah, goodness. Hear these timeless words of comfort. From Deuteronomy, the eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. The psalmist writes, cast your cares on the Lord, and God will sustain you. God is near to all who call from their hearts. We have come together today to worship God and to share in the joy and the sorrow and the wonder that is human life. We gather here as God's people, conscious of others who have died and of the frailty of our own existence here on earth. We have gathered out of our need to be together and to hear God's words of assurance in the midst of our sadness, and to hear the good news of God's love for us in Christ. It is in the calm and comforting conviction of this everlasting hope that we offer God praise for the life of Ralph Thomas Coley, Jr., and commend him into God's care. Will you join me in the opening prayer that is printed in your bulletin? Holy God, we come before you seeking your presence and your help. Help us, O God, to celebrate life even as you honor our sorrow. In our grief, draw us to you. In this time of human parting, touch us with the assurance of your life within us. As we cast our cares upon you, may we know the consolation of your love through Jesus Christ, our Lord, who taught us to pray together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. I'm going to leave the slideshow up through Bubbles Up.
Just know you were loved, and this light up above.
highly technical approach to turning off the when we gather to celebrate a life, one of the richest ways we can do that is to tell and remember and share those things that are part of our current memories and ground them in texts that ground us to our history, our heritage, and the everlasting life that we have, going backwards, going forwards, and in the present time. We talked about Scripture for this particular service. It was important to find just the right tone. Ralph was deeply spiritual and held his faith very, very close to his heart. And he layered that with a deep zest for life, a rather fond connection to the finer moments of enjoyment, including nature and beer and music and church. So as you might imagine, it took a little bit of thought to determine what would be the right text. Now, one that you hear quite frequently, and you might have recognized it from the opening, the reference, from Ecclesiastes 3, for everything there is a time. And we read down that whole laundry list. I'm not doing that today, because we never go to the next part of that text. Well, we rarely go to the next part of that text. It was written for the ancients by a man named Coley. You will find that spelled every possible way. But his purpose was to instruct, at that time, young men in how to live a good and purposeful life. I think it fits. Here now, this reading from Ecclesiastes 3, the first verse, and then skipping to 9 to 13. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. What gain have the workers from their toil? I have seen the business that God has given to everyone to be busy with. He has made everything suitable for its time. Moreover, he has put a sense of past and future into their minds. Yet they cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I know there is nothing better for them than to be happy and enjoy themselves as long as they live. Moreover, it is God's gift that all should eat and drink and take pleasure in all their toil. May God add a blessing to our hearing and embracing of that fine advice. The family has some reflections to share with you this morning. I would invite Travis to please come.
Good morning.
Good morning.
A letter to my boys, Augie and Boyce. As word got out about Pops' passing, messages and texts immediately started flooding in. I was struck by the common sentiment they expressed. He was my guy, fun and cool, a kind man, caring for all. Big Ralph, Pops, we lost a good one. He was a man's man, father figure, and best friend. As I drove back to Haddonfield for Christmas, I continued to receive texts and messages. Each one that came in caused me to think more and more about How would I describe Pops to future generations? As a result, over the next several months, I resolved to reach out to his closest friends, nieces, nephews, extended family, and his inner circle, with a simple yet nuanced ask. Hey, how would you describe my dad in 1 or 2 words? Once again, the sentiment was varied but uniform. Hard-working man, family man, father figure. Dear friend, he was a man, a true man's man, Southern man. Big man with a big heart and a brain. A bit of a mischievous man. He was all those things, and to some, even more. In his own way, as one of my close friends put it, he was a bit of an 80s Renaissance man. Engineer, outdoorsman, sportsman, woodworker, coach, father, and church deacon, all wrapped in just a hint of California cool. He introduced our family to the Boston Pops, fine dining, wine, and on some very select occasions, first-class plane travel. But we also spent years hiking through the Sierra Nevada mountains and cooking over fires. To truly know Pops was to find him where he was most comfortable, at home in the backyard, grill on, friends and family around, a scene and experience that was always set to his own personal soundtrack. After all, he was at his core a Southern gentleman who embraced a bit of formality, but he had been transformed by decades in California and a professional career of domestic and international travel. He was a big man, imposing in some ways, but as a close friend remarked, he was always welcoming, never overbearing, and easy to be around. Friends, son and daughter-in-law, nieces, nephews, skippers, boys from Lafayette, and grandsons always knew the door was open, he was ready to listen, or simply pass time over stories and laughs. He was a present man. While he worked hard, traveled far, he was always home when it counted. More importantly, he was always there for his friends when they needed him. He could be a quiet man, but man, did I learn to treasure sitting with him in our garage, cooking a turkey on Thanksgiving. We enjoyed quality time with little exchanged. Just a dad, his son, a grill, and some old speckled hen. By the way, I don't even know who buys speckled hen. Sometimes the silence would be broken by the comedy stylings of the one and only Joe Coggins. He was a project man. Pops loved a good project to complete. You needed something built. He was always there with a tool, bucket in hand, ready to spend long hours to complete the task. As his best friend put it, it did not matter what they were doing, whether it was riding bikes or building a deck. He attacked both as if he was a dog killing snakes. I'm not even sure exactly what that means, but it seems perfectly fitting for a Southern boy who grew up hunting the banks of Jacksonville River, who would ultimately make his home, life, and legacy in Cohasset, 2 locations that are as juxtaposed as he was. Was he a perfect man? Simply put, no. He had his moments. He was definitely demanding. And he was not to be directly disobeyed or crossed. He would hold you to account, and he had standards. There were some hard conversations over the years, and he didn't always have the answers. After all, he was a human. Now that you two are getting older, becoming young men of your own, I do pause to give thought to the question, what does it mean to be a man today? The best I can tell is actually pretty simple. To be a man is to give more love to your family, friends, and community than you take. And if that is the score of a man, Pops was truly a man, a big man, and a man's man. With love, your dad.
Thank you for coming today. Great job, T. Hopefully I'm going to get through this, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, thank you. So as my brother said, we always called my dad Pops. And I love thinking about my dad and wanted to share a few memories that I will always cherish. My earliest memory of my dad is having him arrive home from work and just being so excited to see him. And I would greet him with a big hug, and he would swing me around. And gradually this turned into a game that I called Joot Joot. My dad would hold my hands and swing me between his legs with my socks slipping on the floor and fling me into the air. And so he would come home, and every day I would ask to play the game, Joot Joot, Joot Joot. When I was a child, Pops was always larger than life in my eyes. He was very strong and sturdy. Another favorite game that we used to play was called Simply Bear. Pops would pretend to be a sleeping bear at the zoo. Two crazy kids, Travis and I, would taunt the bear until it woke up and broke free from the cage and attack us with tickles and hugs. Anytime my dad wanted to take a few minutes to swim in our pool in the backyard, he was instantly inundated with kids wanting to play with him and be thrown around in the water. He would swim a few laps with a child hanging on each arm before giving in and finally playing with us. He was great at launching us like cannonballs into the pool. I began my love of running watching him train with his friends for the various local fun runs, events, and marathons that they would compete in. Pops was always kind enough to participate with me in activities like Indian Guides and Indian Princesses, and coach my team for soccer, and take us on camping trips, just father-daughter with a couple of other close friends as well. He was always very dedicated to the activities and did his best to make meetings or practices engaging and challenging for everyone. Frequently at the end of soccer practice, he would have the team complete a series of sprints that everyone typically complained about. He would always say that we could quit as long as we could beat him in one of the sprints, which he would run backwards. This task was not as easy as we all thought it should be, and I was never able to beat him. I was finally able to beat him in a local run, just he and I, around the neighborhood here in Cohasset, just the two of us, when I was a freshman in college and was actively training with the Yukon track team. I was 18, he was 41. He was the man. Pops began taking me out to learn to drive when I was about 13 or 14. He would drive us out of town and onto quieter roads to practice. He gave lots of verbal instructions and reminders. I guess you could say he was a bit of a backseat driver. He was very good at driving and always prided himself on his skills. Giving up his license due to Parkinson's was a very tough transition for him. However, the desire to be engaged and helpful when riding in the car remained. I frequently drove my dad to his weekly boxing classes at 110 Fitness, and he could always be relied upon to check for oncoming traffic at intersections. He would frequently say, "Clear on the right." My family will confirm that I have inherited my dad's backseat driving skills, as I frequently provide unsolicited and unwanted verbal directions whenever I ride with them. To me, my dad always seemed to know a little bit about everything, and he could be relied upon for any support I needed for a project. Light automotive, electrical, carpentry. When Marty and I purchased our first house, we asked him to help us build a deck off the back. In true Pop's engineering fashion, this deck became a detailed endeavor with hand-drawn plans that was constructed of high-quality products. The size was immense in comparison to the home, and the project took most of the summer. Marty and Pops used the same barber, John Franco, and as the summer progressed and the deck project continued, John Franco teased them a bit and began calling the project the Coliseum. How's the Coliseum going? While my dad was very good at a little bit of everything, the ability to teach others these skills did not always come as naturally to Pops. There were many projects Pops would take on with his grandsons that ended up being less of a hands-on activity for the kids and more of a watch Pops do it activity. We lovingly referred to him as Big Z from the Surf's Up movie. The scene in the movie where Cody asks Big Z to teach him how to make his own surfboard is a perfect representation. Truth be told, my family would probably confirm this is another trait I share with Bob. When I was in high school and college, Christmas was a special time for my dad and me. One year he and I were left in charge of decorating the tree, and we decided to only use the ornaments that we liked best. So we were blasting music, decorating, and sort of misplacing the ornaments we did not enjoy. We also had a habit of waiting until the last minute to complete our holiday shopping and started making a day of it in Boston that included lunch and a few well-deserved beers. He and I also shared a love of the Far Side cartoon, and one year ended up giving each other the same desk calendar. We rip it off each day for a different little joke or scene, and this tradition continued for many years to come, I think, until they stopped making that version of the calendar, but good memory. My dad was not very eloquent when speaking with me regarding boys and dating. I recall being told he did not want me to date football players. And when I said, "Why? You were a football player," he replied, "Exactly. I know what they're like." The other piece of advice my dad gave me was this: beware of the trouser snake. You only need to be bitten once. A favorite memory will always be dancing with my dad at my wedding. We both wanted to pick a special song and make sure that we had practiced a little to feel comfortable in the moment. While we were reviewing possible songs from his musical collection, we were not really identifying anything that we clicked with in searching for slower songs. Then it hit us. Why did we need to dance slow the entire time? So our agreed upon song was American Pie by Don McLean, one of my all-time favorites from growing up. It turned out to be the perfect selection. It was very special, and we enjoyed doing it and then inviting everybody up to join us for the end part of the song. So that was a great memory. Pops had a unique way of responding when greeted in a social situation that I smile about whenever I remember. I don't know why it sticks in my head, but I just like it. If someone saw my dad and said, "Good to see you, Ralph," he would always reply with a twinkle in his eye, "It's good to be seen." As my father's Parkinson's disease and dementia advanced, I cherished all of the time we were able to spend together on a daily basis, just doing simple tasks. He always wanted to be a helpful assistant, especially if it meant there was a reward at the end, like baking cookies. He did have a very big sweet tooth. He would help me measure out all of the ingredients and stir everything together. Over time, this became very challenging for him, and you could visually see how hard he worked to make his brain try and direct his body to do what he wanted, stir the mixture together. He would work to the point of exhaustion before allowing me to finish. Then he would watch me stir with more ease and speed. He would smile, point to himself and state, "Low speed." Then he would point to me and exclaim, "High speed." As his disease progressed, my dad became childlike in many of his interactions and interests, and I enjoyed being part of his wonder and amazement, as I did when my own children were first learning about the world and exploring simple pleasures. We read a lot of children's books from the library, played games, and created art activities for fun. I especially enjoyed being able to make my dad feel safe and loved, as some of his delusions and cognitive issues could cause him great stress and anxiety. One of my favorite things to do was tuck him in bed. After adjusting his pillows and blankets multiple times to get everything just right, I would kiss him and say, "See you in the morning," to which he always replied, "God willing and the creek don't rise." While I miss my dad every day, I'm so grateful that he's finally at peace and free from his broken body and mind. Thank you for indulging me as I reminisced about our time together.
My children are going to be a hard act to follow. Thank you on behalf of my children and our family, for all of you who are here. It's so wonderful to see you. Testosterone Nation is Owen Gagan, Finn Gagan, Blaze Coley, and Augie Coley. I will be making my remarks to my grandsons. Feel free to listen. Pull it down. Statue at rest. Ambience swells the room. Sitting, he is silent. His lips not emotion. His thoughts are heard. Worn face, etched in stone. His presence, respect it commands. Protector of the lair. Torso cast of iron. Appendages wrapped in steel cable. Scarred from battle, a statue at rest, his heart reaching out, touching those who are near. I knew the minute that I read that poem that Ralph Travis Coley wrote during his post-high school year at Phillips Academy that he had written about his dad, Ralph Thomas Coley Jr. Ralph Blaze, you are the fourth Ralph in a family begun by your great-grandparents, Ralph Thomas and Ione Coley Sr. Little Ralph grew up in a family of 5 with 2 older sisters, Carolyn and Janice. They were a loving and tight-knit family. Ralph Sr., a.k.a. Papa to us, was the son of a Georgia farmer, so Pops spent quality time on Big Daddy's farm, horseback riding, hunting, and fishing with his father and uncles. Pops was a country boy at heart. So back to the statue at rest. Although a man of action often, Pops enjoyed downtime, especially with family, friends, great stereo sounds, and of course, a cold beverage. Grow older but not up was his motto. His lips, not emotion, his thoughts were heard. Although often on the quiet side, Pop spoke with great passion about his engineering and design work to me often. He got so carried away with this that I frequently heard, "Just let me draw you a diagram." Please, Ralph, no more diagrams. I can picture it. The country music lyric, "Always be humble and kind," came to mind as I was writing this section. Pops was not a bragger. However, he proudly displayed the 26 patents that he helped various ocean spray teams develop in our home office. I can hear Pops encouraging all 4 of you wonderful men to be humble and kind, as well as proud of your accomplishments. And I pass that sentiment on to you today. It's okay to take quiet pride in setting goals and accomplishing them. In one more area of silence, I am reminded of your grandfather's quiet spirituality that Karen referenced. While he didn't share much in words, he was a man of deep faith. Those spiritual roots grew out of a church league football team, the high school Christian organization Young Life, and young Christian athletes of FSU. While he expressed his belief in the Christian church, he was a proponent of Jimmy Buffett's philosophy of honoring the truth of the divine as seen in all religions. I'm not going to sing the song, Fruitcake's in the Kitchen, to you. I know for certain, however, that your grandfather would be urging all 4 of you to forge your own sense of the divine and your personal connection to it as a lifeline of guidance, safety, and protection for the times when the going gets rough. And it will happen sometimes. Protector of the lair, Pops loved your parents and me, and he certainly was, literally, protective of us all. He also delighted in creating a beautiful home and the yard that was well maintained with engineering precision, one that was designed with beautiful homemade furniture and other creative inventions of his. Scarred from battle, Pops' battlefield was the athletic one. His football career demanded that he bulk up in high school. And while that worked for football, it wreaked havoc with his love of running. When his knees demanded that he stop running and playing softball, he turned to biking with a vengeance. In our early days in California, Pops and close friends multiple times biked 86 miles from Modesto to Yosemite National Park, where they would camp. When Parkinson's disease made biking dangerous, Pops took up boxing at 110 Fitness, where he gave it his all. So what would Pops say to the 4 of you today? Find a sport that you love and pursue it. It's a great way to stay fit and find like-minded friends. And yet, more than that, I'm certain that he will be constantly encouraging you to never give up. When one door closes, look for the new and exciting one to open. And finally, Travis's poem closes with his heart reaching out, touching those who are near. I'm sure that the man who was so very proud to be your grandfather, the one who started the tradition of going to Anna Maria Island to share his family with my dad, your only I can't say the word, surviving great-grandparent. And he wanted my dad to meet his grandsons. Pops was a people magnet who loved his family as he made family of his friends. Find your people, find your tribe, and make family of them as you create your own families. And you'll hear him cheering you on from the heavenly realms. Thank you.
I love the line, make friends with your family and family of your friends. I was quite privileged to have been invited into that family, and I continue to hold that very dear. It's good to be seen. Seems to have been contagious because I know it started with your dad. And I hear it so many times from people around the church when I see them. He had a way of making an impression. I also need to note that the parsonage is also the possessor of a Colosseum-sized deck. It is beautifully constructed, solid as all get out, and because of the place it was located, if you're in the basement, there's a casement window and you can look out, and smack dab in the middle of the view that you have is a beer can. Which I'm too short to see, but my son, who's 6'4", noticed it the first time he went down in the basement. He's like, it was a couple weeks before I found out your dad was responsible for that. Your stories were beautiful. Thank you for sharing them with all of us. And I would invite those of you who will be coming over to the reception to know that as deep a gift as the families sharing their stories has been to you, you sharing your stories with them is a blessing and a gift. We have another piece of music, and I am really looking forward to this.
Okay, another request from the family called The Rainbow Connection from the Muppets movie. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? What's all the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. The rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know that they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish could be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, someone believed it, and look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? Then what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell, we know that it's probably magic.
Susie was reflecting to me just last week that she had only recently, and I had only recently learned, that rainbows are not arches, they're circles. We only get to see part. Will you pray with me? My part's first, in case you were concerned. And I'll introduce the psalm at the end. Gentle and gracious God, giver of life and conqueror of death, Ralph died. And while time has tempered the immediacy of our grief, it cannot lessen the loss. He is missed. And yet we are so very grateful. Grateful that in him you placed such a profound love for living life to its fullest. Humor in the sweetest of moments, and joy in the simplest of things. We thank you for his kindness, love of nature and music, his enthusiasm for all aspects of the world around him, and for the people he shared it with. We celebrate his generous spirit, his ready willingness to dive into any project, and the diversity of skills he brought to them. We wonder at the ways he built fun into every adventure, even the hardest ones. We are grateful for the family he anchored, just as they anchored him. God of grace and compassion, grant to Susie, Travis and Christine, Jen and Marty, to their sons, Ralph's beloved grandsons, Finn, Owen, Blaze, and Augie, to each member of this family and the communities of love and support Ralph so cherished, with co-workers, caregivers, with Brett and the community of 110 Fitness, and of course here at church. Grant to each who are gathered here and to all who remember Ralph with love the comfort and consolation they need. As this family and these friends both celebrate his living and grieve his passing, Holy One, would you guard and keep them? Strengthen them for the days and tasks ahead. Remind them that they do not travel the journey of sadness alone, but you walk with them through all the valleys of life. Hear us now as we remember that promise in the timeless words of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Let us take a moment in silence. And now, O God, with faith in your great mercy and your abiding love, we commend your servant Ralph to your eternal care. May you bless him and keep him. Make your face to shine upon him. May you lift up the light of your countenance upon him and give him peace. Amen. Friends, as we go from this place, may the peace of God which passes all understanding be with you and go with you. And may you remember the rainbow is a circle, and life is eternal, and we shall meet again.
I'd like to invite Ralph's drummer friends to join me for this last one also, if they would like to. Thank you. It's a special Beatles song we enjoyed called With a Little Help from My Friends. Okay.
What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get high with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get high with a little help from my friends. Oh, a little cry with a little help
very local. I sure am. In fact, I enjoy sitting in the area. In fact, one of my favorite, I have an identical twin brother. And we enjoy singing a lot of passing barbecues and I spoke for you. I sure do. Thank you, sir. We so enjoy it. We're both semi-retired. I'm a former real estate developer, and I enjoy this. You know, we hear see, I have all that stuff. I mean, what's the country? Thank you. I'm going to give you my card right now. in housing, private sector, much were not here. And it was my dream to start this other thing. And the last, just wasn't supported. How could you do it? Joe Armstrong. Joe. Yeah. And so I realized that and I prayed about it. I went to see a priest, and he said, "You really feel called to be married?" And I don't remember the name of the priest now, but it was 3 months. He said, "Too many marriages happen when there's no spiritual call." And he said, "There's a spiritual call to be a good single people. You can do other things for your community, family." And that's what I've done. I've tried to, be civically active, and I've been a good uncle to my nieces and nephews. So every family with a lot of siblings need a support uncle. The kids, when they were young, they knew I was crazy Uncle Joe was not a joke. They could visit. That's because I didn't have kids of my own. I could play with them more, So great memories. And I was blessed with a great extended family.
So just a little funny thing. I don't know if you so we were
Absolute top priority to unauthorized immigrants for emergency housing. And it's literally the top priority. There's no distinction in mass law, local housing, citizenship, and non-citizenship. You can't even ask whether, I'm not saying nationality, say, what nation do you have alliance to? In Massachusetts, it's whether you're from Venezuela or whether you're a veteran. Not that history, it's astounding that public policy. And so the problem is that the homeless priority comes above all other priorities. And so all the immigrants get all the housing. And so it's really hard. So don't expect a quick.
That's her thing, and she can, she can, but if you know of any little,
Well, the rent for one bedroom in this area is crazy now, like $2,000 for a one bedroom apartment, heat, hot water. So.
yeah, we're lucky, we have a 3-bedroom, like 2,500.
Yeah, that's a good deal. Can I tell you? And what town?
Situate.
Oh, it's Situate. Well, that's
Includes everybody.
It doesn't include 3.5 months of summer,
But we're moving on.
Understand. By the way, that's a good opportunity if you have a place to stay.
we can still re-up in September, which is probably.
That's the way.
So listen, at some point, I'm a musician, and at some point, that's why I came up and said.
What's your instrument?
Piano.
Oh, wow, that's something.
And it would be fun to do music with you. Have you done any recording in the area?
I have. As a matter of fact, we have our band, the Armstrong Brothers Band, has been playing in the area for generations now. If you're on Spotify, we have an 8 original song professionally produced CD on the Veteran World.
Yeah. So I'll be in touch with you.
So you can find.
The one thing that if you would be willing to do it for me, if you could give me a little bit of a reading on what some of the strengths and weaknesses of the local recording. I have a really fabulous.
I know just the best one. The only one I would ever go to in the area is the one who worked for me and I've been using for generations. Sean McLaughlin is his name, and his studio, I guess to get off the top.
What town is it?
It's in Rockland.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's in Rockland and a wonderful top quality.
And is he very acoustically oriented as opposed to?
Absolutely.
I think some of
If
the
you
records.
hear my music, which includes some really mellow, if you email, I'll send you links to
I will be in
music.
touch with you.
Go ahead.
I have 2 different desires that I may not get to. First of all, I'm a fabulous listener.
Yeah, I'm sorry to keep moving around. Yes, you gotta go back.
I'll tell you what, we'll be in touch.
Yes, let's. But nice to meet you. Oh, I'm happy to know. Okay.
You know what? This was one of the best embarrassers I've ever been. And just to have a few. Sitting about that. Jim Henson and good fellowship. Good fellowship.
The acoustics of this church are amazing.
Well, I never met Ralph. It sounds like a good Ralph. But it's also good. Oh, and one of the comments that you were talking about.
Okay, great. You ever more than enough?
Sounds like it.
So we also have David Robert.
I live with my cousin.
I have fun with you.
All right. Well, I was just in line.
Good fellow. Good fellow. Are you part of the family?
I'm just 5 minutes.
Was Ralph active in the district?
Oh, very.
Yeah.
Moments in the building.
As a how's girl out? This is a big deal. You know, I was over there. I've stood at that one for 2 or 3 times, but for you, I mean, after we meet each other, you have
information on the housing. All right.
That was a great concert. I enjoyed that. You don't hear a lot of those songs in. You don't hear a lot of those songs in church all the time.
Whoever needs something similar like that, get in touch with him or myself. We'll be happy to assist.
Still connected. Okay. Is that the slide?